Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to All Praise Picks. Today we're looking at the MLB. We have the Detroit Tigers playing against the Los Angeles Angels on June 29th, 2024. So this game is in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles won the last two games versus the Tigers, and I feel like they have a another advantage in this one. While both pitchers statistically are a little bit worse, I think that overall Detroit's offense has not been playing well, and I think that this is a really good spot for the Angels, who are actually an underdog in this game. But I was able to make uh, six parlays for you guys on BetMGM. As always, I'll break down the lines, give you my thoughts, and hopefully, if you tap in, we can all win. So these are the first two parlays at plus 115 and plus 150, and they're primarily just focused on what I think would happen overall in the game. I do like the Angels to cover the first 5 innings and the run line spread. So on the parlay on the left side at plus 115, I have them at plus 2.5 first 5 innings and plus 2.5 for the run line. I really mainly like them to cover in this game because of their starting pitcher. In this game, they're starting Griffin Canning, who's 3-8 in his starts with a 4.62 ERA and a 1.33 WHIP. But in comparison to their past two starting pitchers, Canning has a lot more experience. He's pitched 87 innings, and although he only has 59 strikeouts, I think that he should be able to keep them in this game against a Detroit offense that has honestly been struggling mightily in the last 2 weeks. So Detroit, as I've said in my previous videos, they're bottom 10 in hitting and runs this season, and now they have a top 5 lowest strikeout rate on the road this season and a top 5 lowest hits per game on the road this season. Versus the Angels, thus far in 2 games, they've only managed to score 2 total runs, including a 5-0 loss in their first game and a 5-2 loss in their last game. And so thus far in their last 10 games, Detroit has only scored more than 2 runs 3 times. And I think in this game, it's likely to go under again, even though Kenning's numbers, in comparison to the Tiger starting pitcher, Reese Olson, are a little bit worse in terms of the ERAs. Reese Olson's at a 3.35 ERA, but he is 2-8 on the season, and his WHIP is near Kenning's at 1.19. So I just think that the Angels, they've been playing a lot better, and they should be able to stay in this game, especially if they're like in their last game, they were able to start a minor league pitcher versus the Tigers, and the Tigers didn't score any runs. And in the game before this game, they were still able to win by 3 runs. So I do think that they should be able to stay within this game. But I also took the Angels to have over 2.5 runs. Their offense overall has been playing very well. And while they've played the Oakland A's and Detroit Tigers, two of the relatively worst teams in the league, I think in this one they should be able to keep up with the Tigers and should be able to score at least 3 runs. But also took the total to go under 12.5 runs. Like I said, Detroit's offense has been playing very poorly lately, and it would take a lot for them to score more than 12.5 runs in this game. But like I mentioned, Griffin Canning has an ERA of 4.62, but this is the one spot where he should be able to have positive regression in terms of bringing his ERA down against a Detroit team that leaves much to be desired. So that's the parlay at plus 115. I also have a parlay at plus 150 on the right side, with much of the same that I just said. So first 5 innings at 1.5 run line spread for the Angels, essentially not for them to lose the first 5 innings by more than 2 runs, and same for the run line spread at plus 1.5. But I also have the totals just to go under 12 instead of 12.5, and I just thought that this was just a better value play overall. But at plus 115 and plus 150, if you put 1 unit on these parlays, you have a 115% or a 150% return on your investment. And as always, I just suggest guys having financial consciousness and overall understanding of your bankrolls when deciding to place these bets. So these are the next two parlays that I have at plus 185 and plus 250, and they're focused on Griffin Canning's strikeouts. So I do think that he has a good chance to get over 5 strikeouts in this game. There is another line on BetMGM to have more strikeouts than Reese Olson, and I really think that's just dependent on how many innings Reese Olson pitches. And I think that he could go more innings than Griffin Canning, but because Detroit has been playing a lot worse in terms of their strikeout rates and hitting rates in comparison to the Angels, I think that even if Griffin Canning only pitches say 5 innings or just under 6 innings, he should be able to get 5 strikeouts in this game. On the season at home, he plays much better in terms of his strikeout rate, and I think this matchup against Detroit really does favor him. So I also took the Angels to have a plus 2.5 run line spread on both of these parlays. But on the parlay on the left side at plus 185, I have the Angels total runs over 2.5. So essentially for them to score more than 3 runs in this game. They scored 5 runs in each game versus Detroit thus far, and I think that they should have a good chance of putting a few runs on the board. Whether those runs come in the first 5 innings or in the later innings of the game is remains to be seen. I do think that Reese Olson has shown that he is able to get hit up, and all it takes is really one hit to put a few runs on the board. So I do think that the Angels should be able to score 3 runs. And it should be seen, or it will be interesting to see the bullpen for the Tigers. They haven't played well thus far against the Angels, and now that they're starting Reese Olson, they may have him pitch extended innings, like going into the 6th or 7th inning, which is why I prefer to take Griffin Canning strikeouts over 4.5 rather than for him to have more strikeouts than Reese Olson, because I think Reese Olson will likely pitch more innings than Griffin Canning. But I also took the total to go over 6 on the parlay on the right side at plus 250. As I mentioned, Detroit's offense has been playing poorly, but I think statistically, this is the worst pitcher that they will be facing in Griffin Canning in terms of his ERA at 4.62, and his expected ERA is over 4.5 as well. So I just think that if there's a spot for Detroit to score runs in this game, it would be in this game. I did expect him to play better against a minor league pitcher in Davis Daniels, and Davis Daniels ended up going over 7 innings and not giving up a run to Detroit. So if the runs do go over 6, I do lean towards the Angels to score a majority of them as well. But that's the parlay at plus 185 and plus 250. So if you put 1 unit on either of these parlays, that's a 185% or a 250% return on your investment. And per usual, I just suggest having bankroll management and financial consciousness. And that's why you guys see that I have a $50 stake at the plus 250 instead of the usual 100. Essentially just putting half a unit on that plus 250 because of the higher odds and incurs a larger risk. And these are the last 2 parlays that I have at plus 170 and plus 240. So in these ones, it is mainly leaning towards overs in this game. Like I mentioned, though, I do like the Angels to at least cover the run line spreads in the first 5 in the full game. So I have them at 1.5 run line, essentially not to lose the game by more than 2 runs. And the same to be true for the first 5 innings. But on the parlay on the left side, I have the total to go over 5.5. So similar to the previous parlay at plus 250 for the total to go over 6 runs. But I do feel pretty confident in the total going over at least 5.5. And the difference between the total going over 5.5 and the total to go over 6 is that if there is 6 total runs scored in the game, then you'll be able to have your bet returned to you if the total ends at a total of 6. But if the total goes over 5.5 and there's more than 6 runs scored, then you would win the bet. So it is essentially just a hedge against the total ending at a low score, but ending on an even number would lead to the bet being returned, especially if the total is landing on 6. And then looking at the parlay on the right side at plus 240, I do have the total to go over 4.5 instead of 5, just as a safer bet overall within the parlay. But I do have Griffin Canning to have fewer home runs than Reese Olson. I do think that the Angels' bats have been more consistent, and with their comfortability playing in Anaheim, I think that they have a higher chance of scoring a home run. And as I mentioned, Detroit has been a bottom 10 team in hitting and runs this season, but a bottom 5 in terms of hits per game on the road, and the odds of them scoring a home run in this game, especially given how poorly they've been playing, definitely does lean towards the Angels being able to score more home runs. But the same is true if there are the same number of home runs scored by both pitchers, then the bet will be returned because nobody would have fewer home runs. That's why I felt more comfortable placing a 1 unit parlay bet on this one instead of the half unit that I had on the previous 250. But at plus 170 and plus 240, if you bet 1 unit on either of these parlays, it's a 170 and a 240% return on your investment. But as always, I would just suggest having bankroll management and financial consciousness when deciding to place these bets. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more WNBA and MLB parlays coming up later this week. And until next time, peace out.